Hey guys, it's time for the AfterBuzz After Show for House of Lies. We're talking Season 5, Episode 7, 180. We got Jessika Borsiczky in the house. Stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, welcome. It's time for the House of Lies After Show. Yeah, we're jamming. Welcome. If you haven't already, go to youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Hit subscribe. We're also on iTunes and SoundCloud. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel. You can tweet at me live during the show at Yael Tygiel. Let me introduce my lovely co-host. Jill is here.
Jill Munroe. You can catch me on all social media. That's Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, at Stiletto Jill. And to my left, we have a special guest today.
Yeah, we do.
We are so excited to have
Jessika Borsiczky.
Yes!
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I want to work here now.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's really fun.
I want to talk about this episode. You are an executive producer, you are a writer, and this was your directorial debut.
My first time directing.
Oh my God, how exciting.
It was really exciting.
I told you earlier, this was my favorite episode this season.
Yes.
I laughed so loud. Thanks. I'm usually
now I
everyone's
like
favorite.
Yael
I win.
I'm going to try. I have some great points to bring up.
That's true.
No, that's incredible. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to start talking about Doug's TED Talk because that was crazy pants. So we see him discussing, remind me the title because it was so complex. It was the Dungeon Master
Of your own destiny.
Yes.
And defining the, gosh, what was it? It was defining
right?
your the inner orc inside of you.
Right.
Or defeating the level 9 inner orc inside you.
Yeah. Okay.
And, we've been leading up to the TED Talk of the whole season.
Yeah.
And we've also been digging into Doug's secret Dungeons and Dragons life the whole season. So it was really the two things converging in like an epic nuclear action.
Yeah, I feel like it's not a surprise, though, that he does Dungeons and Dragons.
I mean, if you expected one person to do it and to be the absolute master of it, it's got to be Doug. Seeing Doug in his rare form where he can flex his muscles was so exciting to me. So actually following the whole path, and he with Tess, Sabritha, her Dungeons and Dragons name, which Lim had a hard time with. He didn't understand why she would pick Sabritha as her name.
It's a beautiful name.
Beautiful.
He had an issue with it.
It's very powerful in the Dungeons and Dragons world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was excited to see Doug step up and have an area that he could actually own and have that be seen to the outside world. That's what we sort of been waiting for, because we know Doug has been fighting for years to try and make his own little niche within the pod. He's always the backup guy. He and Clyde go back and forth. So that's what was exciting to me, to see this other side of him and to see him not blow it.
Yeah, no, and he's really rising higher with it, and it's working for him. The Dungeons and Dragons tools and mastery starts coming into his regular life, and he starts to get a little bit on top again.
Yeah. I love when we hear Clyde saying, oh, that's what he's been working on at the office. Because I'm looking at these props and being like, where did these props come from?
That was actually an improv line from Ben Schwartz, which isn't,
Wow.
yeah, he always adds great improv, and that was one from him.
It was so structured. I could just see Doug in his office, and especially because, they're all see-through, going through each motion. And at this part, I break through the prop, and I bust on the stage, and I sit down, and I bring tears out. It was great because, again, you never see him on top and in control. The only thing that makes me a bit sad is that he seemed to forget about how much Tess pumped him up and pushed him to show off this other side that she's gotten to know through their relationship in Dungeons and Dragons, actually.
It's a morality tale. Like, when we all get a taste of power, what do we do with it? And we've already seen, like, moments later, he's maybe blowing it. Maybe he's forgetting his roots, who got him the TED Talk in the first place.
Yeah.
So
I'm so sad for that. Especially because we didn't get to see what happened afterwards. I'm sure he's going to check his phone and see all of these missed calls and angry texts, which he deserves.
Yes, he does.
Or maybe she won't be calling him after.
Ooh. Because she's a strong woman.
Yeah.
She is.
She don't need him.
At all. I just, it's sad because he finally has a woman that sort of gets him. Doug has been very henpecked in his relationships, so to speak, or just the weaker one. He didn't find moments to take control. And so seeing this where it's kind of balanced, but you know that Tess is this powerful woman, a CEO of this rising company, and they fit, and she actually likes Doug's quirks. It's kind of sad that he doesn't see it. He's like looking past it, using her like fuel.
Yeah, no, I think Doug is always going to be his own worst enemy.
Yeah.
No matter what. But I like that you said that he was flexing his muscles, because I'd like to think that that's also about the fact that he went shirtless in his TED Talk, which was totally unnecessary. But yeah,
I disagree. Completely necessary. That's how all TED Talks should be.
He nailed it.
There should be swords.
He got on his bike. Soul Cycle obviously touched Doug. He wanted to show off he was in supreme physical form and fashion at the top of his game, and I think he delivered. I wonder if it went viral. Did it go viral? Did we think it went viral?
Yeah, for sure. It was the biggest hit on the internet immediately, right?
I'm sure it was.
Had to be.
Not for reasons he was hoping.
Right.
That TED Talk was crazy.
And what did we think about Marty sitting in the audience, taking that moment to take in his edibles?
I mean, that's so Marty. Oh, so Marty. I loved it.
I mean, why not? They were all dreading the talk.
Yeah.
He had them in accidentally. He just still had these, souvenirs from Kush Vistas. And so it was like, oh, isn't this fortuitous? And not knowing he was going to have to do some business right after. So I think, it would have all been in good fun and worked out really well for Doug, because Marty wound up being high enough to kind of enjoy the talk and really roll with it. But
I just wish he would have shared. Like, he's like sitting there popping them, and I was like, dude, you have a whole thing, and everyone knows when you're doing edibles, you got to be careful not to take too much. So share.
Yeah, we learned a little more about him by him not sharing.
We all, there's been lots of points this season where Marty seems to black out, and his humility comes forward, and we see a softer side of Marty, but he always forgets when he comes to the blackout moments.
Yeah.
You've opened him up.
Trying. He's a stubborn man.
That TED Talk was just so funny. I'm trying to remember. My favorite part is with the sword when he cuts his hand.
I also love just the way Josh played it with the trying to do the moonwalk, and you can understand how important it was that he get the moonwalk right, and he couldn't get it right, and I just thought he played that so well.
It's great. Just one thing that I really love about them as a group is that they're so quick, and you can never tell if the lines are improv or if they're reading them exactly scripted. Their chemistry is really almost unmatched. As a quartet, they equally shine, play off each other so well. That must be really exciting to have a group like that to write for and to, come up with these amazing scenarios.
It's heaven. I mean, they bring an energy to whatever's in the script. They bring an energy, and often they're not improvising. Sometimes they are, and it makes it feel so real, and it makes it feel so quick, and you've got to keep up, and it's only a half-hour show, so it's all getting in there, and it's been a joy. And especially the longer we've gotten to know the characters and the actors, we can really write towards it. So that TED Talk might not have been, season 1, we wouldn't have been able to mine it as perfectly as we were able to now. So that, that's really one of the joys of having 5 seasons of a show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Was there anything in the TED Talk that you came up with and you were like, oh, this would be really great, but it didn't make it?
There were some crunches he did.
Oh,
and
sad that didn't make it.
Yeah, no, it kind of went on, and then we got there to filming it, and there was a sort of reality check where we only had we filmed that over one full day, and there was only so much we could get in the day, and I also know the reality of what was going to end up in the final cut, so we trimmed it down.
Did you approach this show differently, as it's your first directorial debut? How did your process differ with this as opposed to just, writing and producing for the show?
Well, I didn't really write it differently, but as I was writing it, I got to think a lot about how it would play. And I have to say, part of me was torn. I sort of thought, well, would it have been more interesting to direct someone else's episode and not my own, and sort of discovered something different? But I wound up being really excited that I got to sort of envision it and then see it through. And so there were elements of it that I think, had I written them and someone else directed it, it wouldn't have come across quite as I had it in my mind. So Jeannie High, which was really based on, maybe people I know, maybe I'm asking for a friend, like so there was a lot of that I got to bring to it in the writing, and then in how it played, and definitely the TED Talk, and even like Marty being high at the end. I so badly wanted to show, because he's been high on the show before, and he's always kind of pulled it off. So it was like, well, how can we really get across that he's in his own world, and he just ate like so much edibles that he should not be alive.
Popping them like Tic Tacs.
And so that song that starts playing in his head, that played through the end of the TED Talk scene, and then begins in his head in the meeting scene. I had written that into the script and really choreographed that in my mind as I was writing it, that it was going to be a way to sort of transport us into his head. And then on the day that we filmed it, I asked Dawn to listen to that song in between takes and sort of stay in that mindset, and I think it works so well, because he's even kind of, I mean, obviously we weren't playing it on the set because you have to listen to the actors talking, but you could see him sort of dancing to the song in his head because he's been preparing with it in between takes. Wow. So it really, I think he was really sort of there. So there were things about it that were really fun to have been able to write and direct. But I'm also looking forward to directing other people's work and sort of discovering how to, find things in that process too.
Yeah, well, we will talk about the final scene and that big discussion and Jeannie's high, because that was so great. But before we do, we have a sponsor that Jill's going to tell us about.
What if today was the last normal day of your life? Cassie Sullivan thought she knew what tomorrow would bring, but she was wrong. We were all wrong. The first wave took our power, killing 500,000 people. The second wave put that number to shame with tsunamis that destroyed everyone within 100 miles. Goodbye to coastal cities. After the third wave, only the unlucky remained, survivors of a virus that left only 3% of the world still standing. In the fourth wave, the others became us, inhuman beings hiding behind human faces. At the dawn of the fifth wave, we had to choose, give up, or get up and fight. But that was only the beginning. In these last days, Earth's remaining survivors will need to decide what's more important, saving ourselves or saving what makes us human. Rick Yancey's #1 New York Times best-selling novel, The Fifth Wave, introduces us to a group of young people struggling to survive in the aftermath of a catastrophic alien invasion. Its sequels, The Infinite Sea and the newly released The Last Star, follow them through a series of battles and betrayals as they fight the ultimate war between life and death, hope and despair, love and hate. Entertainment Weekly calls the series remarkable, not to be missed under any circumstances, and urges fans just read it. USA Today hails this as a modern sci-fi masterpiece, and best-selling author of The Passage, Justin Cronin, raves in his New York Times book review, calling The Fifth Wave wildly entertaining. The highly anticipated finale is here and will leave readers stunned. Learn more about the Fifth Wave series at thefifthwavebooks.com.
Awesome. And if you love books, we have the Book Circle online here at the AfterBuzz Studios, so be sure to check that out. Let's talk about Kush Vistas.
Yes.
Not something you do while you're reading, I guess, unless you want to read and then books come to life.
Why not?
So we meet Kush Vistas, which is this great new business. I'm trying to find
collective
the words. Yeah, collective community. The utopia of pot. I wanna ask if you're a big pothead, but I'm not going to.
Or are you familiar with some people that might be?
Right, friends of yours.
Well, I have become familiar in the way of the Mary Jane, but what's interesting about, and I did a lot of research about pot business to do this episode. Like, it's kind of funny. You get mountains of the real business, and then maybe like 4% of it makes it into the script because you want to make it fun. But the connection between actually like smoking pot or doing pot and God, I just sounded so old. I don't know, what do the kids say?
Smoking pot.
Okay. Weed, Kush. You had it right. Kush.
Yeah, so Kush was right. So and being an entrepreneur in it isn't necessary. I mean, it's really because the business is so viable and
growing, lucrative.
It's like, it doesn't matter if you enjoy it. It's like, get into it. So on this show, in this episode, the owners of Kush Vistas, who are played by Zach Knighton and Ricky Lindholm, they're definitely into it, but that's not. They're more about almost like a culture and a way of life as their business, not necessarily always stoned.
Yeah. Well, I love that we have the dynamic where one is it's about the culture and the lifestyle and the family of pot growing, and the other one is like, but we're also making money here. Like, this is business.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
and that's real. I mean, that's real, and it is. It's fascinating because this is thrown in there as well. Like, the federal government won't acknowledge these businesses legally, so they can't have bank accounts. I mean, there's all sorts of rules and regulations that and these small business owners aren't powerful enough to plow through. So it feels a lot like alcohol prohibition, where when the laws start falling into place, some big businesses will come in and just make piles and shitloads of money.
Yeah. If you look at Colorado and just what they have done as far as tax money and where that money is going to schools and the amount of money that they had in overage in it, you have to expect that at some point it's just bound to happen. And I thought that what was genius about this episode was that tobacco does have a serious problem. Obviously, for years, their audience, rightfully so, is being pulled back. So they have some big decisions to make, and bringing the two together makes so much sense from a business perspective. And I thought exploring that was genius.
I have it on like a little high authority that's actually happening. It's behind, and they really, the tobacco companies can reach those DC lobbies, and I think that this was a little bit of
foreshadowing,
a little bit of a look to the future.
Well, then let's talk about what's going on with Marty and this beautiful point that he makes that is like, welcome to the world. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
I also love that he brings in Blockbuster.
That was a great reference, because I think about things like Blockbuster, Tower Records. If you think about it, there's no reason why we should be buying our music from iTunes. We should be buying it from Tower Records or Sam Goody or any of those other old school, brick and mortars that went by the wayside because they couldn't adapt to the new business model. So I thought pointing that out once again was a great point, because we all had Blockbuster nights, and now we're Netflix and chill. So that's exactly what happens.
That's so right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's a real example that if people are stuck in their culture and it's like this Luddite feeling of well, this is what we are. We're not going to change. Let the world change to us. You're going to lose out. And I think, and so these characters who want to be this kind of homegrown and grassroots and choosing to believe really hypocritically that they're still doing something for the people in this almost like socialist communal way, but really they are getting like plenty rich. I think it was interesting for Marty to call it out.
Oh yeah, and it was beautifully stated in his high state.
Yes.
Stealing from Doug's TED Talk. Yeah. About the orcs.
Yes.
So good.
That's how impactful. That's another moment when Marty has been in this haze that someone has given him, he's taken into the next level. Like when Jeannie told him he was a lion, the episode a couple of weeks ago, again with some type of psychotic, he and the t-shirt guy, and he used that imagery
John Cho played Sean Chu. Yeah. That was so funny.
To break him down. So I thought it was great to see Marty taking from his peers, and
that's really he does. He takes it. He's just a siphon for, and then he's able to very sharply put it back.
Yeah. That's why Marty's so good at his job.
He's the best,
and that's why we love him.
I know. I want him to be my management consultant.
So I want to talk about Jeannie's high because it made me laugh so hard. So for the first part that made me laugh was when she realized that Doug and Clyde, they're the love story. They're the love story. They should fill each other's holes. I was dying.
But that felt like the kind of thing you do think about when you're really high. That's
Random
what I've heard.
thoughts.
Sure.
Yeah, and you know, I think part of why she said that too was everybody's always going on about how she and Marty are this, you know, the love saga
Right.
and the love story. So she was really, you know, I think it was her way of sort of thinking about herself and realizing, oh no,
There's more here.
they're really the
Yeah.
beautiful, perfect lovers. Yeah.
I like that also Doug points out that he's also thought about that.
About filling each other's
Filling
holes.
each other's holes.
How Doug.
Yes, seriously. How Doug.
Yeah.
Also,
thrown in.
it took me until after the episode to put together her blinking at once moment. So Jeannie decides, what if the whole world blinks at once? And then she tries to do the I Dream of Jeannie. And you hear the sound, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I Dream of Jeannie. It took me till after the episode to go, her name is Jeannie.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, wow.
What?
I didn't even think about that.
Seriously?
Just stopped. Writer. Wow.
Seriously?
You just outdid
we just had a
me.
moment.
You
Okay,
just
so-
outdid me.
Oh, great.
That was super clever.
TV exclusive.
Thank you.
We like that.
Okay, great. Because I was like, oh, I can't believe it took me till the end of the episode to realize that. All right, I feel better now.
No, I was like on the one level of just the blinking. I'm like,
blinking.
I can only think about one level at a time. That's great.
And then when she tried to eat the dog,
I know, that was fine. Put my dog down.
you can't eat the dog, but he told me to. That was great.
It was great.
Oh.
Yeah, that was I have a little tiny dog that I bring to the writer's room every day, and she's very popular with everybody. But there's one writer in particular, Sarah Walker, who has. I think she's like maybe gonna steal my dog, and so so they have
Sounds
a special
reasonable.
they have a special bond, and so she had pitched the joke as having my dog, whose name is Lady Mary, in the scene, and Lady Mary wasn't able. She was previously committed for the day, so I wasn't able to use actual
too
Lady
busy.
Mary. Yeah, but the joke made it in. So the dog
she
was
knows.
and that dog was almost as cute as Lady Mary.
Close.
Yeah,
Looked edible.
Yeah, it was a delicious little dog. And Kristen's a huge
Right.
animal advocate and animal lover, so it was a really fun.
Yes, we've seen the sloth video.
Yes, there you go. So
She
it was,
does love animals.
Yeah, I tried to write a sloth in once, but I couldn't get it through the writer's room. Everybody rolled their eyes at me.
Oh, her trying to eat the dog was so great. I laughed. The dog was in her mouth.
Yeah. That was the one take where the dog actually put its head in her mouth, and it was that as my first time directing, I was
Nailed
like
it.
giddy. I was, oh my god, I can go home now. I was so happy, and she just played it so convincingly too.
Isn't there a saying to never work with animals or babies?
Oh, people tried to talk me out of that shot.
okay.
They were like, "Oh, your first time director, don't give yourself this problem." And I was like,
How was it?
Nailed
it
it.
went amazing. I mean, send me babies, send me animals, send me an elephant. No, it was fine. The dog actually behaved really well, and
good.
and we actually have more footage than we even used of the dog. So
So
I'll work
bonus
with him
features.
again.
He's got a
discovered him.
spot
I love
forever.
it. I like the idea of bonus features on the DVDs being the dog. Look at all this footage of a dog.
Well, I had it in my mind that like, maybe we should establish him earlier, so I have him like through different scenes, but he didn't really make it. Just the eating.
Just the eating is great.
It was an important moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Had to pay
and
it off.
I think the episode, or the line that really concluded the episode for me, is after the Kush Vista's Big Tobacco meeting when Marty goes, "What the fuck just happened?"
Right.
Because I went, "Yeah, that's what I just
Yeah.
watched."
Yeah.
That actually really encompasses the TED Talks, but the whole episode.
Yeah, no, I think everybody's just completely out of their mind in the episode in a great way. He that whatever vomited out of him in that meeting
Right.
was a force of a higher power of
Yeah.
the
A
edible.
green higher power.
A green higher
Save
power.
the day.
Yeah. Anything you want to add before we move on to the future? Because there's a lot to talk about in the future.
Yes, there is. I didn't realize it was your first directorial debut. It was excellent. Thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish. So
Absolutely.
very excited about that.
Awesome. We're going to talk about Cuba.
CC.
Yeah, the series finale is in Cuba, shot on location, and is the first scripted American show to shoot in Cuba since diplomatic relations were restored.
Or movie, or anything. Fast and the Furious is filming there now, but
Right.
we got there months ahead.
Yeah, suck it, Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, no, it's a big fucking deal.
It is a big fucking deal.
I think that it's a perfect show for it because throughout the show, all the issues that have been tackled and from different perspectives, straight on, always on point with the comedy aspect,
So
but
right.
never hiding from the issues, you know? I think that it's great that you're going to Cuba. What brings them there? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is absolutely right. It wasn't just like some gimmick, like, oh, diplomatic relations are opening up.
Let's just go to Cuba.
Let's just go there. Although, and honestly, it really was barely cracked open when we decided to go there. So it was really challenging to make happen. But I mean, there is really a dialogue happening now, which is what will the capitalization of this country look like? How much are we going to? How much will they let it be Americanized? Who's going to help it take these steps forward? And it is real. It's kind of like this. Somebody's done an archaeological dig and found an undiscovered commercial part of the world. So the idea that Marty would go there with the team and try and exploit it feels so natural,
Right.
And it really is mimicking. I would imagine. I'm not really privy to what Cuban officials are talking about in their spare time, but there is a lot of that dialogue going on in Cuba as well. So
Absolutely.
I think it really was, like you're saying, it really was a fun way to get into what is really a real and serious issue, and we have a lot of fun and jokes there, but it touches on the humanity of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Marty would absolutely be like, opportunity, we're going. They do have so many points in miles, that team, that pod.
They could afford to go to Cuba.
Right?
Yeah.
They fly
They
all
could
the
afford
fucking time.
Yeah. No, they do it in style. They do it up.
And even the quick trips, the quick turnarounds. I don't know how they keep themselves fresh.
Yeah, that's a real part of management consulting, where they are on the road. A lot of management consultants don't even have homes that they've really set up for themselves. They're on the road sometimes 5 days a week. They're in, and it's not always glamorous. And that's actually one of the things I tried to show in this episode when they go to Washington and they're in the Yakima Valley. It's like they're in a shitty rental car, and they're probably staying at the local Best Western Motel. It's not always Vegas, it's not always the high life. So
The super sexy places and spots.
yeah,
sometimes.
I hope Best Western's not a sponsor. But
No, it's not always the douche twins.
yeah, it's not always the douchebag twins or the cruises or So I think that's one of the reasons they become their family together is because a lot of management consultants in real life have a hard time, really being rooted with a family.
Awesome. I'm so excited. I think it's time we head into predictions. Yeah. So
And now,
that's going to happen.
your AfterBuzz TV
We're predicting.
I just went to the future.
So in the promo for next week, we see that there is a boy band called Dream Out Loud. They're the new One Direction, sure. And we have Jeannie versus Marty asking, what's the point?
Yeah.
The point is money. Predictions.
So Lem and I have sort of been talking about all season that we think at some point Marty and Jeannie are going to end up back in bed with each other and sort of explore their relationship once again. Shocking. But it's the difference being that obviously Jeannie, being a mother now to little Phoebe, is thinking more about family life. So I am thinking that Marty is going to kind of break down and continue to give in to that family life structure that he kind of missed out on with Roscoe, and sort of little by little, unwillingly, but opening up to it, spending more time with the family and not as focused on the pursuit of the almighty dollar, even though it remains in the forefront. That's my prediction.
Wow. It's a bold prediction.
Well, and he's already acting like
Yeah.
Well,
a
yeah,
better dad.
it's a softer side of Marty. You know, I mean, you're never gonna get a soft Marty, but we've seen things in certain episodes. Just when Jeannie came over frantic with the baby, and he helped calm down. Usually, that's something that his dad, that he's taking the role that Jeremiah has taken in his life for all these years. It feels like with he and Jeannie's relationship. So I think that it's just an opportunity for him to learn another level of himself that doesn't involve pursuit of the almighty dollar.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that and say that since Jeremiah was like, I'm not doing this, you do it, since then it's been really pushing him that way, and I think we'll see more of it. I don't know if we'll see them back in bed together, but I could see them buying a house together.
Well, like roommates?
Well, yeah, she's been looking for a place to live. I can totally see them picking up a place together, or her moving in, cohabitating, maybe separate rooms to start, you know.
They're very modern.
Yeah, they're very modern. But here's my prediction, and it might be crazy, but I think next episode, I'm putting a timeline on it, Marty will be, all right, so I want to say that Marty's going to sleep with somebody. But what I'd like to say really is next episode we get some nudity, because there was not enough in this episode.
I did not go for the poon.
Yeah. No. And you should have.
I should have.
Always.
Well, my prediction is
yeah,
you're not going to be able to get the song that
this
boy band sings out of your head for 2 weeks.
Great.
It is the worst earworm you've ever had.
Good, thank you. I'm positive that you're right.
Yeah.
That's gonna be. Yeah. My head is already upset.
Yeah. No, it's kind of delicious and wonderful, and a guilty pleasure, and yeah, it's taken every time I would get it out of my head, we'd have to rehear it for editing or something, and so I've lived with it.
Cannot wait.
It was you guys wrote the song.
We wrote the song. Well, we hired somebody to write the song, and
so it's
and
an
the
original
boy band.
song.
Yeah, we created this boy band. I feel really confident that if we were to launch this actual boy band with the guys playing the boy band and the song, I think we would be. I think we'd be set for life. I mean, I mean, it was so.
There's an opening. To do. Yeah. There's an opening in the group lane. Yeah. You know, with Zayn leaving One Direction, there's an opening right there.
One of these guys could step in. They are cute. They're little delicious boy band guys.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap up, why don't you tell people if there's any projects that you're working on or anything that you want to plug aside from your Twitter and Instagram and everything?
No, I mean, I've been working so hard on this, so I'm filming something now I can't really talk about yet, and writing something now that I can't really talk about yet. I'm very mysterious.
All the surprises. That means that they need to follow you on your social accounts so that when these things launch, they're first.
My Twitter is my name is Jessika with a K, so it's Jessika B Tweets is my Twitter.
Good.
And my Instagram is Jessika B, because I was an early adapter, so I got the name.
With the K.
With a K. Awesome. Everything's with a K. There's no C. There's no C happening. I love that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jill.
I am at Stiletto Jill on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all your social media apps.
Awesome. And I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. I'm going to spell that for you. It's YAELTYGIEL. And I have a podcast. It's free. It's on iTunes. It's called Intimate Interrogations. Sometimes it's filthy. Sometimes it's not. You check it out. And we'll see you next time for more of House of Lies. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.